Hi everyone, I just wanted to send out a quick video, so hopefully you guys are enjoying the week. I know that for some of you, your breaks are this week from school, and for many others, it's next week. My daughters are out all next week, so I'm really looking forward to that. I just wanted to touch base on a couple of things. We did find out last week that not all of the announcements were pushing out towards emails, and so I forwarded you all of those at the same time, and I wanted to make sure that you were able to read through those, and if you had any questions, please let me know. You guys are doing amazing work. The course is a little over halfway complete, and you may feel like you have quite a bit of an uphill battle still with your lit review, but I just want to reassure you that the skills and the knowledge to create lit reviews and to work with them is a progression. So in 707, in Historical Foundations of Curriculum, that was your first, so it's really getting into it, understanding what it looks like, how to write it, and then in this course you're going to continue to develop just your skills. You're going to focus a lot on the content, and this content hopefully will carry into your innovative project. And so just continue to think about that as you're writing, that you're not putting your personal opinion in the literature review section. It may come in a little bit in the introduction and a little bit in the conclusion, but in that middle portion, it is really focusing on the literature, what the literature is saying as a whole, what themes, what it's saying together. So just make sure you're focusing on that. Another thing I wanted to share with you as I was reading through your Chapter 3, your Module 3 items, was how much you're seeing the process of leadership, the process of change, and your interactions in that as a very complicated process. You talked a little bit about, moral purpose a couple of modules ago. In this module, you looked at how do you continue to work with change? Is that change actually meaningful? How do people go about promoting change and what that looks like? So I wanted to introduce you just briefly to an analytical framework that you'll be using in ED 779 in your values course, because I think for some of you this might allow you to kind of approach the readings through this. So this was something that was developed by a group of professors as we worked in the values course, and it's kind of just a triangular visual that allows you to see that your ideology interacts with the schools, which interacts with the current political economy. And you know that some of the articles in our 728 class are a bit older, and what is important both in understanding that is it was written at a time where certain things were going on in the school. So it's really good to have a historical perspective on No Child Left Behind or Every Student Succeeds Act and how that impacts the schools. That's a lot about the political economy. With a new president coming in this year, that's going to impact what the schools do for the next 4 years and how that political economy actually impacts the schools, impacts your ideology and what you believe. So these three things are always at play, and they're always interacting with each other, and I could see that in your posts. I can see, well, it really depends on what the principal believes about students, what they believe about the goal of education is, and that's exactly right. So in 779, you'll take a look at what the different ideologies are from different writers, and you'll also be asked to evaluate yours. So what we believe the aims of education are is very important. Sometimes your principal may not have the same beliefs as you do. Your leaders that are around you and working with you consistently may not, or they may have a general understanding that's very similar to what the aim of education is. So what skills are needed, what societal functions, and what do you believe about individual growth. There's also the view of learning, what we believe about learning, and that actually impacts what mode of learning occurs in our classroom between the teacher and the student and the environment and the student, that all interplays. How do you view the learner? So how do you actually view your student? So it's impacted by gender, age, culture, lots of different things. And I can hear that in some of your posts as you reply, well, the lower socioeconomic students or the higher learners, that impacts how we teach, how we create curriculum. And then also the view of knowledge, and that came out a lot in one of the forums in this. What is the difference between knowledge and information? So our overall ideology, what we believe about the goals of education, the views of learning, the view of the learner, and the view of knowledge all impact what we do within our schools. And here are some different things. And you guys have touched on a lot of these in your post. And so I can see as I was reading, I thought, oh, this is exactly what the analytical framework addresses. And then also the political economy. We are still in a fairly high stakes testing kind of culture, and we just have new dashboards that were shared out for all of the schools in California and how we're doing on certain things, whether it's our EL learners or our suspension rates. And so the political economy also impacts what the leaders at your school site do, what they're required to do, what regulations and everything that they have to then implement. And a lot of you guys, as you talked about change, you really talked about that it's kind of ongoing and constant. And I think that's important to recognize that as teachers, that change is going to be continual. But how you work through the changes, work with the changes, and how you are leading from the middle. You may not be an administrator or ever want to be one for that fact. How do you lead from the middle? How do you take changes? How do you really focus on what's best for your students and what's best for the learning outcomes? So anyways, I wanted to introduce that to you. I think as you head into values, you'll be able to have a good understanding of this because you guys are already talking about these 3 items within your post, and this just kind of gives you a framework for that. Well, if you have any questions, please let me know. I am in office all this week. You guys are working on a lot on your literature review this week, and that first just initial pages of your literature review, I don't want to call it a rough draft because it should not be rough. You want it to be a good first draft or first version, I guess I should say, will be submitted by Sunday, and I'll be taking a look at those the following week. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I look forward to reading all of your literature reviews come next week. All right, thanks, bye-bye.